Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, an 11th richest person in America. And it must really chafe his butthole that he's not in the top 10 because he is an unrepentant bag of dicks.
The amazing atheist.
Who sicked the police on the Occupy Wall Street movement? Bloomturd. Who wants to ban all sodas over 16 ounces? Bloomturd. Who thinks that the police should not serve and protect you if you happen to be a gun owner? This motherfucker right over here. Mr. Michael Bloomturd. No offense to actual turds. You know, I know New York City is supposed to be some sort of cultural epicenter, but if this motherfucker is the best that that city can do, then I, for one, am not impressed. Nor am I impressed with the guy that they had in office before Michael Bloomberg. Ugh. Why did you show me a picture of Rudy Giuliani? No. Rudy Giuliani is like Nosferatu's uglier cousin, only instead of sucking blood, he sucks dick. And not in that nice way that the lady at the truck stop will suck dick for $20, but in the way that being diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer sucks dick. That's how Rudy Giuliani sucks dick. Oh yeah, you know that is fucking true. I'm gonna have bad dreams for 2 months because I saw that picture without fortifying the old mental defenses first. Riddle me this. Why does America's supposedly greatest city keep electing creepy-looking crypto-fascists like this guy? Does that make sense to anyone? Because it sure as fuck doesn't make sense to me, but then I think I might have a touch of the Asperger syndrome, because a lot of shit in this country doesn't make a whole lot of sense to my stupid ass. In a city of 8.2 million fucking people, you mean to tell me that this guy is the creme de la creme? This is your savior? This is the guy that you felt was so awesome that you actually repealed term limits so that he could serve a 3rd term because you love him so fucking much? You think he's that fucking awesome? How? What is awesome about him? A new report was published today by law school clinics which shows that the NYPD used force on Occupy protesters without apparent need or justification 130 times. 130 instances of peaceful protesters being assaulted by the police without any provocation whatsoever. And who presided over that? Who defends that to this very day? You already know the answer. This cretinous fuck right here. But that's not the only crazy policy of the police that Michael Bloomberg supports. He also supports heavy surveillance of Muslim communities because he feels like that's the breeding ground for terrorism. Okay, why is it in this country that when a white person who was born and raised in America kills a bunch of people, we all have to look for something to blame? It was the media, it was entertainment, it was guns, it was books, it was this, it was that. But when a brown-skinned Muslim person kills a bunch of people, we just say, Islam, case closed, done. This is America, man. We love convenience. We love to be spoon-fed simple answers and pretend that we just learned something. We like to fucking fantasize that we personally have it figured out because we imagine that a personal feeling of certainty is somehow inherently valuable, when in fact it is empty and valueless from an epistemological standpoint. You don't actually gain any sort of knowledge or insight by the mere act of being certain about something. And that stupid, blind certainty is exactly the sort of hubris that Michael Bloomberg displayed when he said this repugnant shit in a recent interview with that smarmy little prick Piers Morgan.
Take it one step further. I don't understand why the police officers across this country don't stand up collectively and say, we're going to go on strike. We're not going to protect you unless you, the public, through your legislature, do what's required to keep us safe. After all, police officers want to go home to their families. And we're doing everything we can to make their job more difficult, but more importantly, more dangerous by leaving guns in the hands of people who shouldn't have them.
So according to Michael fucking Bloomberg, the mayor of New York motherfucking city, the police should have the right and the ability and in fact the moral imperative to revoke their protection of people who simply exercise their Second Amendment rights. Why? Yeah.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We'd love nothing more than to dispatch officers to your location to stop your house from being burglarized. But we can't, because our records indicate that you are a gun owner, and we just don't feel safe.
Michael Bloomberg has a long and well-documented history of siding with the police over the people. In fact, he seems to think that the police are these tireless, almost mythical heroes that endlessly sacrifice for the benefit of society.
But for the police officers, it's much more immediate because when you and I hear shots, we run away, they run towards it.
Well, speaking as someone who was in New Orleans for Katrina, I can tell you that the moment you really need the police, the moment the infrastructure around you starts crumbling, they get the fuck out of Dodge. They ain't there to help you. They're protecting their own goddamn families. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about yours. They're doing a job for a fucking paycheck. They're not great heroes. They're just a bunch of assholes, like everybody else. The extent of Michael Bloomberg's contempt for ordinary people and their ability to govern their own lives is a thing of almost a dark sort of beauty. Because not only does he think that people aren't responsible enough to handle guns, he thinks they're not responsible enough to handle sody pop neither, okay? This is a guy who has proposed that all soft drinks over 16 ounces be banned from his city because they're bad for people. That's no longer the decision of individuals to make, whether or not they want to drink a bunch of sugar water. That's his decision. He feels like he can make that decision for you better than you can. Michael Bloomberg's vision for his city, and in fact for this entire country and perhaps for this entire world, is that it should be a place where you don't have the right to eat or drink something unhealthy, and you don't have the right to own a firearm, but the police have the right to beat you, to spy on you, and to withhold protection from you if they don't like you. So let me see here. Michael Bloomberg wants less rights for the people and more rights for the state. What is that called again? I could have swore there was a word for it. Oh yeah. Fuck you, Michael Bloomberg! Buy my t-shirt. It is cool. It will get you kicked out of work or school. Yeah, buy it now. Limited quantities.
Crack and anal sex, bitch.